Thank you all for being here today. There are a lot of you. My name's Austin Sensman. I am one of the founders of Birmingham AI. There are a couple seats still available. If anybody doesn't want to, well, yeah, don't sit next to that guy, though. All right, well, let's just go ahead and get started. None of this works, okay, without some of our partners, and so I want to thank the Innovation Depot for keeping this space for us. They do a lot of help behind the scenes just to make it all work, so if we could give them a round of applause. Thank you. None of this works, too, without sponsors. So we want to keep this a free event. We want to feed everybody. We want to make it easy for the community to be here every month. Our sponsor this month is Abacus Technologies. They are, well, one of a portfolio of companies that BMSS operates. And so Brian's going to get up here in a second and say a little bit about what they do. Before that, I just want to reiterate what we're about up here at Birmingham AI. This is a organization with a mission. We want to accelerate the adoption of AI in Birmingham for everybody. And that kind of comes down to two big themes that you're going to hear us talk about a lot. One is we want to do what we can to make AI a net job creator for our city. So a lot of roles will go away over the next decade, and a lot of new roles will be created, and we want to do what we can to make sure those new jobs happen here in Birmingham, and that we have the people that know how to fill them, and we have the companies that know how to hire them, and all that. And then the other part is we want everyone in our community to feel like a proactive participant in this tech wave. You hear us say we want you to feel like this is happening for you, not to you. And so we try to make this an accessible room where we share practical knowledge so you can walk out of here, go back to your home, go back to your desk, and do something, okay? So with all that being said, I'm going to let Brian come up here and share a little bit about Abacus, and then we'll get rolling. Round of applause.
Thank you so much, Austin, and can I just say wow at the attendance today. Thanks so much for coming out. I'm the CEO of Abacus Technologies. My name is Brian Jackson. Very happy to be here and sponsor this event today. I tell you just a little bit about Abacus and what we do. We're born in the Birmingham area. Our roots are here in Birmingham, and we are a technology service provider that provides a variety of services to clients. Primarily, if you look at our core business, we solve technology problems. That's what we do for our companies. But while we are rooted in Birmingham, we have services and clients that we can deploy nationwide. We've been in business for at least 22, 23 years. I've been at Abacus for about 17 of that, and very happy to serve among a team of over 30 professionals with our company. Our focus is really in three areas: managed services, which are your typical blocking, tackling of your IT infrastructure. We also do business intelligence, helping turn data into insights and insights into decisions. And really what I'll focus on today really is about our risk management. And over the past 4 to 5 months, I've had the pleasure and opportunity speaking to many different business industry groups across really the nation. And all of them are using AI. And it is probably one of the hottest topics that I've been asked to speak about to these groups. And one of the biggest areas of interest is with how are they policy and governance and making sure they can deploy this technology and mitigate the risk of putting it out in their organization. And that's one area we're focusing on very heavily with clients, and that's what I want to make sure you know, that we can focus on that for you today. So as you begin your AI journey, as you think about, well, how are we going to have this technology in our companies, how are we going to deploy it safely to our users and make sure that it is can perform in the immense value that we think it can, but let's do it in an intentional way. So if you're interested or you need help with that, please get in touch with me. We've got a booth out front with several of our professionals here that work in the risk management area. Talk to them, and please talk to me if you've got any questions about how that works. A little bit about our company. We've got over 200 clients. We've been in touch for 25 years. We have many different accolades and certifications among our team. So it goes without saying, we are a group of professionals looking to serve professional companies. And finally, as Austin alluded to, we are part of a portfolio of amazing companies that were founded here in Birmingham, and we can serve you from, obviously, Abacus does technology. We have a payroll company and PEO company that can help you out with those services. We also have a wealth management company that can help you with managing your wealth if you exit your company. And finally, we are part of an amazing accounting firm, recognized as one of the largest in this region and also in the nation with BMSS, and we cannot do anything without the partnership in this family of companies. We're a very strong partnership and strong force in the market. So if there's anything that we can do related to any of these services, please get in touch with me, get in touch with our team. We've got several people from BMSS here today, and we'd love to help you out with where we can. So thank you. Enjoy the show today, and I appreciate your attention.
Thank you. Can you, it's off. Can you just take it back to those guys for me? Yeah, thanks. I've been out to the BMS office a couple times the past few months, and I'd say their leadership team is on fire for this stuff, and they're doing a lot, I think, to advocate and just push this forward. So thank you, Brian, and thank you all for sponsoring this month. Okay, I do not have to give the main talk today, which has been a relief. But I had a harder job, which I have to give all the updates, and a lot of stuff has happened in the last month, yeah. So this is when you drop a list of like 100 things and you say, well, what are the 5 things I have time to talk about? So I'm going to go through this pretty quick. There's some things I'm going to mention, but not really talk about in depth. We may unpack them in future meetings. So here we go. So OpenAI had their Christmas event, basically, where they give out all the gifts. Dev Day, it happened Tuesday, Monday, thank you. And so here's some of this. This wasn't all released on Dev Day, but this is stuff that's come out in the last month. I guess this is how much stuff you can ship if you have a few $100 billion laying around. So Sora 2, they announced instant checkout where you can buy stuff in ChatGPT. You can now share your projects with other people. There's parental controls, so you can hook up an account with your kid. By the way, do you know how old you have to be to use ChatGPT? Does anybody know? 13. 13, yeah. So I had to say my 6-year-old was 13 recently. So updates to their coding model, Pulse, which we will look at. There's apps in ChatGPT, and they announced an agent builder. This actually isn't all the stuff they released. This is just sort of the things that pop on the headlines. I'm not going to talk about all this stuff. This isn't an OpenAI event. But keeping up with this stuff is sort of what I do professionally, and even as someone who does that professionally, it's not very easy, okay? So let's get into the stuff that I think is relevant for today. So we are going to talk about AI browsers today. I don't know if you knew that's what the topic was when you showed up, but that's what Will's going to spend some time with. We did not know that they were going to make this free for everybody, Comet, but they did last week, so that's good. That's going to help you all use this. And so a couple things worth noting. A lot of people use Notion, and they released an agent. So within Notion, it can see all your pages. It can actually do a lot of real work for you. I was very impressed with this, okay? So was this cat. If you don't use Notion, this might not be relevant for you, but it's one of the most widely used platforms. And so having a really powerful agent in a system like this is a big deal. I'm sure every piece of software that you own, they are telling you that there is now an AI in it and it's going to change your life, and most of that stuff's not very good, okay? So when I say I'm impressed with this one, this was something that actually I thought was implemented very well. And who here has used Poke? Oh boy, okay. All right, so, by the way, who's here for the first time at a Birmingham AI meeting? Okay, good, fresh victims. Okay, so Poke is a little glimpse into the future, all right? It's a fully text-based AI experience. You go on their website, you give them your phone number, and you get this message, right? It texts them for you, and it says this, basically. And so you're like, what is this thing? So I'm just going to walk you through the interaction we had, little snippets of it so you kind of get the vibe. Okay, here's where this went right away. And I'll just let you read this. This is a spicy product. Okay, so it immediately starts roasting you. And at this point, you haven't even signed up for this thing. The reason it does know this about me, by the way, is the first thing you do is give it access to your calendar and your inbox, right? And it sort of goes and like figures out who you are, okay, and it starts talking to you, okay? So the first thing it does is it tries to negotiate what you're going to pay it to access the service, and it has a fair amount of leeway here. And so it's trying to learn, like, why should I even let you in? It's sort of this bouncer kind of mentality. I was like very pathetic, and I tried to pretend I was like an influencer on LinkedIn, which is like the saddest like status. And it does happen to be true, okay, but this was, anyway, so it initially wanted to charge me $200 a month, and I got it down to $50. Okay, so just you should also know, you can tell it that it gave me $50 and then try to negotiate from there. Okay, I knew that because Josh Gilmer, is Josh here? Josh, who's here often and a friend, told me this was the price he got, so I sort of had some insider baseball. But when you finally get in, what you end up with is an experience that's very interesting. You can imagine a world where you don't use apps anymore at all. If you think about it, apps are kind of like bootstrapping us into the future. Like if I want to interact with Chip, I mean, I just text or call him. Like there's not some special app experience. And so when we work with AI in the future, I think it's going to feel a lot like that. Like I think about even like CRM systems, right? Like, do I even need to log in? I mean, if I have somebody who's working for me who has access, can't they just go and do that? And this is very much the experience you're going to get if you try this out. I would recommend people at least play around with it, okay? Imagine apps go away and you're just texting and calling with your army of AI assistants, okay? A little glimpse into the future, I think. Anthropic released their new model, 4.5. I don't think this really changes things a lot for non-technical users. Anyone who uses Claude Code, though, or other platforms, this continues to be an incredibly powerful coding model. And this is a big deal. If we can get software to reliably build other software at scale, and that's already happening, but they claimed that this model worked for 30 hours on a software task. And Sam Altman said this week that he felt the OpenAI model was at the point where it could almost work for about a week without human intervention. We're going to get used to that being the norm, but 2 years ago, that was completely unthinkable, okay? You had a bunch of people saying this thing can't write code, this is a disaster, this is a waste of time, okay? So this has changed a lot, and this is just sort of the new normal. OpenAI released a new benchmark, which I think is really interesting. It's called GDP-Val, and interestingly, their new benchmark, they don't score the best on it. I thought it was sort of brave of them to go ahead and put this out here. Anthropic's state-of-the-art Claude Opus model wins. I always felt that Anthropic was doing something different with their models, and I think this is the first benchmark where that's sort of obvious. So how does this benchmark work? So they basically generated hundreds of real-world tasks, and they weren't simple Q&A type things. It would be like, hey, do this whole case study, produce a PowerPoint, produce a spreadsheet, right? These were like significant chunky tasks. And they would basically present two answers. One would be a person, one would be the AI's response, and then an expert would pick the one that they thought was best. So that's how the benchmark works. And so they picked 9 industries that cover a non-trivial amount of our entire economy, okay? So you've heard Sam Altman say a couple times, like their goal is for OpenAI to handle initially 1% of the US's economy, which is a small 1-digit number, but is an enormous amount of work. And so you see here, 50% is on par with an expert, meaning half the time the AI gets picked versus a human, meaning it gets picked as often as a human would. So we're not that far from a lot of these tasks, us looking at 2 pieces of work and choosing the AI. But I think you see that that's not the case right now, right? I think a lot of the real world shortfalls that people are feeling in their business right now is we're not here yet. A lot of real world work you would much rather a human do, if you can get away with it, okay? So this is a benchmark that's worth watching. It's not some esoteric thing like how well does it do on PhD level math, which is cool, but I think not practical for most people, okay? But I want us to keep our eye on this and keep showing you this one as we move forward. This is an OpenAI product that got released, and I think, are you going to look at this too, Will, in a little bit? Okay. All right, so this is Pulse. Just a couple of takeaways. I think this is available for people on some of the higher paid plans, so not everybody might have this. It is an AI assistant that during the middle of the night kind of looks across everything you've talked about the previous day. It looks in your email, looks across everything it has access to, and it kind of puts something in your inbox in the morning within the app, right, that kind of shows things that you might be interested in. And I have a couple theories on this. One, I think they had all these GPUs that weren't working at night, and they were like, we got to do something with these. And so it's crunching numbers at night while we're all sleeping. Sam Altman has repeatedly said they don't want to have ads in their platform. I think this is a way for them to sneak ads in, because it's not in the ChatGPT experience, but here's this other kind of daily feed where they might start putting ads in. I wouldn't be shocked if they did that and they could rationalize it that way, or they could say ads aren't in the core offering, but they are over here. And I think their product people are trying to drive up their daily active users. Right, so this is a classic metric. It's great if a lot of people use the app. It's great if they use it every month. It's better if they use it every week. It's even better if they use it every day. Right, so if you can get these numbers up, you can go raise more money. Okay, so I think that's what's going on here. I'd be curious who has used this or seen this. Yeah, so, right, a half dozen people, okay? They will inevitably release this to everyone by the end of the year. Okay, NVIDIA's just been writing people $100 billion checks for the last month. And they committed to building 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA stuff with OpenAI. Just to contextualize that number, that's 10 nuclear reactors worth of stuff, okay? So for the last 2 years, when I've heard people complain about all these data centers, all the water they use, I've been like, yeah, whatever, Now I'm like, okay, yeah, that may actually be a problem. So this is a lot. Energy prices have gone up. It's not enough where people notice because energy is still incredibly cheap, but energy prices have gone up, 10, 20% in the last little bit, and we're about to bring a lot of stuff online. So this is just something to pay attention to. I fully expect there to be a public backlash against this stuff. It's already happening, right? They're trying to bring a data center out to Bessemer, for example. Is the community going to go for that? And there are jobs associated with it and all that. But I think you're going to start to see a resistance movement forming. And that's just going to be interesting to watch because it's just my opinion, okay? But we probably should have been doing nuclear for a while in this country. But the public got upset about it and we didn't. And are we going to see the same thing happen here? And it sort of prompts the question, why do they need all of these data centers anyway? And that brings me to this point. They released Sora 2. Okay. Who has access to this? Okay, a fair number of people. Right, so when I'm doing ChatGPT, I'm not thinking oh, this is using too much water. But with Sora, let's make a 15-second video. And then it takes 10 minutes to make it, and I'm like, that's probably a gallon. So I just want to watch. This is like a 2-minute video. Am I going to play this up here, guys? Or are we going to play it back there? I can just play it? Okay. So this is 2 minutes, but I just want you to see this. We have crossed over a significant threshold, okay? And so let's just watch this and you can get a feel for it.
One year ago, Sora 1 redefined what was possible with moving images. Today, we're announcing the Sora app, powered by the all-new Sora 2. It's the most powerful imagination engine ever built. And it's packed with new features. I'll pass it to Bill for more details.
Now every video comes with sound.
Sora 2 is also the state-of-the-art for motion, physics IQ, and body mechanics, marking a giant leap forward in realism.
And we're introducing Cameo, giving you the power to step into any world or scene and letting your friends cast you in theirs.
On the path to AGI, the gains aren't just about productivity. It's about creating new possibilities.
It's also about creativity and joy. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's why we're launching Sora 2 inside the Sora app, allowing everyone to push the limits of their imagination and create in ways we never thought possible.
It's pretty cool.
That's 2 gallons.
Yeah, that was at least 2 gallons. That was so. Anyway, we hope that they use this immediately to remake the final season of Game of Thrones, which I think they weren't subtly hinting at here. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Oops. I don't want to watch that all again. Let's see. Okay. It is invite only, so we are going to have a survey at the end. We just want to know how you feel about the meeting kind of thing. We'd love everybody to take that. We're giving out a t-shirt for that, but we're also going to give out some Sora invite codes. So just a little extra, incentive to give us your feedback. Okay? So that's it. And then, next month, I'll talk about the other 95 things that I didn't get to talk about this month, but I hope that was a good snapshot of some things that are going on. And I'm going to let Will come up here and take it over. So thank you. I'll see you next month.
All right. Testing. There we go. Let's give another round of applause for Austin there. That was awesome. Yeah, when we first started this, whenever there was like a dev day, a demo day, we wanted to be the one who got to do the update that month. Now there's just way too much content to have to go through. So I thought that was a great recap. All right, let's get into what we're talking about here today. So this is my iPhone screen, my personal iPhone screen. Might look similar to some of yours, but on it there's a ChatGPT app. And at some point during every single day, I click on the ChatGPT app. And as Austin talked about a week and a half ago, I started to see this new feature on the ChatGPT screen here, which is today's pulse. This is what it looks like if you haven't had an opportunity to experience it before. And you just click into it, and you get some really interesting things here. You can refine it. You see down here at the bottom, you have a curate option, and you can tell it about what you want to see. I told it, hey, I've got this business, and we are focused around AI coding, and man, it's really hard to keep up with all the updates that are coming out in this space. People are releasing things every week, it seems like, and I'm falling behind. I'm in a call with one of our clients, and they're like, oh, did you see this? And I'm like, no, I haven't seen that yet. I would love to stay up to date with that. And so this feature has just been super helpful in helping me stay up to date. In addition to that, it's offered me even more value because Austin mentioned that it kind of looks at your conversations with it. And so about a week ago, I was talking to ChatGPT about a book I read, and we had a good conversation about it. And then 3 days later in my Pulse, it was like, hey, you remember that book we were talking about? Like, here's another interesting article that talks about that book too. We talked about this point. Here's what this article author says about that exact point. And that's when I was like, wow, this is really cool. So needless to say, this is honestly like the feature, the AI feature that's come out most recently that I've been most excited about. And when I first saw it announced and I first got access to it, I had really low expectations. And it's massively exceeded my expectations in any way. And really what it's done is it's changed my behavior. Now, every day, at least at one point, I open up ChatGPT to do something, maybe to ask a question that I'm curious about, get some information, and I see the Pulse, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me dive into this and see what new updates I have today. So it truly has changed my behavior and how I'm interacting with AI. The question I want to pose is, what happens when it isn't that easy? So today, I want to spend some time talking about changing your behavior to use AI. Now, Austin mentioned that we're going to get into some AI browser stuff, and we're going to do that. First, I want to start about changing your behavior with AI. You see, every month or every week, there are a bunch of new updates that come out. We have something like Dev Day. There's 105 new features. We take a look at the tools that are out there. We think about, oh, like maybe I'll use this tool or I'll use that tool. Maybe it's the Pulse tool, maybe it's Sora 2. You're thinking about how you can use it right now. But for many of these tools, they end up staying in their packages. And we never really open them and start to play with them. Maybe we do it one time, but it doesn't become something that we use every time. And it's because it requires a massive behavior change to really start using that tool. So we need to be motivated to change our behavior. We all know this. We've all gone through life where we're doing something today, we want to do something different tomorrow. We truly need to be motivated to change our behavior. But you might have come here to talk about AI browsers, and so we're going to use that as an example. We're going to use these new tools that are out there, AI browsers, and we're talking about how can we think about changing our behavior to actually use these. This thing happens, which is a new tool comes out like this, and I see it, and I'm really excited about it as a Birmingham AI community member, and I downloaded the app probably a month ago, and nothing changed. You see, most of these apps are forks of a Google Chrome type of a browser. And so everything you can do inside of something like Google Chrome, you can do inside these browsers. And it's really easy to download a new tool like this, not change any of your behavior, and then not get any of the new benefit that comes with the AI tool. We're going to start with talking about behavior change and then weave in the browsers. It's going to help us with AI browsers and help us learn how we can change our behavior for this, but it's going to help us with whatever comes next, thinking about how can we use this new tool that's out there, this new functionality. So let's start by talking about behavior. And in my mind, there's really two major things that drive behavior change. First, there's the why. What's the why behind it? Why does it matter? Why should you change your behavior? And then the second part that's connected is what's the friction to switch to this new behavior? Now, there needs to be some sort of why, but it's going to cost us something to change our behavior. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I came up finally with an equation, okay? So see if you can stick with me here. You get the new benefit of the behavior change that you do, switching from Google Chrome to something like Dia or to Perplexity Comet. And then you subtract the friction that you have, and then that's your perceived value for using the new tool or for changing your behavior to this new process. This happens all the time. We've got an idea of, hey, I want to stop doing this and start doing that. I want to start running tomorrow. So what friction am I going to encounter to do that? Got to wake up a little bit earlier. It's going to be painful to run. Okay, what's the new benefit that I'm going to get from running? I'm going to live a longer life. And right there, pretty quickly, you're like, does this equation even make that much sense? And that leads me to this next point, which is that when we start a new habit or a new behavior, it generally looks like this, which is we get some benefit right away. Okay, maybe running a mile tomorrow will give me a clearer head for a few hours, and I'll feel good about myself. But there's high friction to starting this new action or behavior, and so there's low value on the other side. And many times it could actually be negative value. When you first start a new activity, it might even be negative. But over time, you get to a place where you get great value out of that new behavior, and you reduce the friction. You start to learn the habit. It becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it so often. You improve your workflow. And so it leads you to greater value. So whenever we're talking about, hey, there's this new tool that's out there that we think you should try out, we think you should use, we want you to experiment with it, but we really want to get to this question, which is how do we increase the perceived value of whatever it is we're going to be doing or using, and how do we get past the break-even point? If at first there is a lot of friction and lower value, but over time the friction goes down and we get more value out of the tool, how can we get to that break-even point faster and then get past it? There we go. So how do we do that? One, we get clear about the why. There's a lot of reasons to start with the why of our actions and why we should switch the behavior to begin with. That builds up the benefit. That's the benefit side of the equation. If we truly understand why we want to change our behavior, we truly understand the benefit we're going to get, we're going to be able to build that up. And then secondly, we obviously need to reduce friction. That's going to help the equation get turned in our direction. And it's going to lead us to great benefit minus low friction equals great value. That's what we want at the end of the day. So let's walk through this with browsers, AI browsers. Who has used an AI browser such as Dia or Comet? Hands up. Okay, what's everybody using? Just shout it out. There we go. I'm actually going to show off mainly Dia today. We'll show off Comet too, but Comet's getting a lot of love from our Perplexity fans, and it's a great browser. We're going to show it. But there's also another browser out there called Dia that we'll look at as well. And then what are people using it for? Is somebody willing to shout out what they're using it for? To browse the internet. Has anybody downloaded Comet and then not changed their behavior pretty much at all? There we go. So see a number of hands. That was my experience too. So we'll look at these and talk about how we can actually change our behavior. And really, we should start with the why, right? That's what I've been saying. It's literally a book called Start With Why. But, you see the but here? But with new technology, there's often an awareness problem, which is we don't even know what the tool can do. We don't even know how to use it. And so it's kind of hard to understand how it can help us out until we know what it can do. And so we get to start with the demo today. We used to do a lot of demos in these talks. It's been a few months since we've done one, so I'm excited to try one today. Those of you who've been with us since the beginning know that live demos with AI are always fun. But I'm excited about it. So we're about to switch to that. Let me see if I can get my group back there to make the change. There we go. Look at that. Did y'all see that magic? Let's give a round of applause for Digital Motion crew. Okay, so here's the browser. We've got this pulled up here. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit for the user interface so you can see it a little bit better. This is Dia. So again, it looks like any other web browser that you might have used. We're going to start to notice some differences here in a second. When we talk about AI in browsers, there's a number of different categories we could put things in. And the first use of AI in a browser, I think everyone in this room has experienced, which is a Google search. You Google search now, and what do you get at the top? You get an AI response, right? So let's take a look at that, just in case anybody has been living under a rock here. So I've just pulled up Google, and I'm just going to search something and just say latest version of Java. And there it is. We get this AI overview at the top of the page where it starts to try to answer the question for me. I don't need to go anywhere else. I don't need to click a link, and I get this answer. They provide you with a number of links that you can click on and expand the details as well. They make it easier for you to dive in and keep asking questions, but it's just integrated into the Google search. So, has anybody used this though and gotten like an incorrect answer? Curious. I see some nodding, yep. And oftentimes when you look at what it's citing, it might be something like Reddit, where it's just citing Reddit for the answer. And had that issue. Somebody was asking us about pricing information for a tool that I didn't know. I did a quick Google search on the call. I saw the price. I told them about it. Then after the call, we were like, let's double check that. And sure enough, it was just one random Reddit comment, a single Reddit comment that Google cited that I used in that answer. And it was wrong. That information was incorrect. And so we had to let the client know that we messed up there. So just a reminder here that you should check what it's citing, and you should double check things like this. You have even less control over what it's doing when you use a tool like this. Now the next level up of AI browsers is a embedded sidebar that I'm not going to show you right now. I'm going to show you something similar, but that's in existing browsers, something like Firefox or another tool like that. You can have an AI browser in the chat. And really what this does is it reduces some friction in having to go to like chatgpt.com or claude.com, but those sidebars don't have much access over the context in your browsers and what you're looking at. They definitely can't do things for you inside of those browsers. So that's really level 2. Level 3 are these true AI native browsers like Dia, which we're in right now, like Comet. They can get access into what you're looking at more easily and then interact with the web pages as well. So we're going to stay focused on Dia, and I'm going to show you how we can do that. I'll open up a new tab here, and then I just get this prompt field. So it's a little bit strange. If I wanted to go to a website like google.com, I can start typing that in, and that's going to take me directly to the site. But I'll just type in, what color is the sky? And as I type that in, Dia, and Comet does something very similar to this, starts to try to figure out, is this a chat question or is this a Google search question? Are you trying to search the internet or do you just need an AI response? So it's thinking, oh, this is just a chat question. So that's why it's selected that. I could very quickly move down and do a Google search if I wanted to. But it makes it really easy. I can open up a new tab and just fire off an AI question. This already is something that's extremely valuable. If you're someone who does a lot of ChatGPTing and you don't have like a native desktop app with a keyboard shortcut, then just being inside your browser and quickly being able to talk to AI speeds up the process a lot. So we love this. This is the very base level of using a tool like Dia though. We're going to go deeper now. The next thing that Dia allows you to do is to use something called skills. And so if I type a slash, let me zoom in a little bit more. If I type a slash, then I get some options down here. It says research, analyze, explain, summarize. These are some built-in skills. And again, Comet has something very similar. They're gonna keep staying at pretty much feature parity. There's one big difference that I'll talk about at the end. But these skills can be used while you're working with a site. So I'm actually gonna set up a skill before we continue this demo. So let me see if I remember how to do that. I've never done it in this screen. Oh, here we go. Top right, I can click skills and then browse the skills that are instantly available to me. And what's great about this is I can actually add a new skill. Now, what's a skill? It's something that you can use a slash command to quickly send over some content on your website. So let's look at an example. I'm gonna open up an article here. And this is called the scaling hypothesis. Anybody read this article? One person, awesome, good. It's a really interesting article on the hypothesis of AI is going to get better as we scale data and scale compute. Written back in 2020 originally. But I can interact with this article now inside DIA. And so I'm going to use a skill to do that. How do I interact with AI here? Well, over in the top right, you can see that there's a chat button. That's going to let me start chatting with this web page instantly. And you'll notice that there is a shortcut command here. There's a keyboard shortcut that I can use. We'll talk about pro tips later, but you should learn the shortcuts and start to use them. Even if you're not a keyboard shortcut person, please learn these skills. That's a great way that we can reduce friction when learning a new behavior. I can hit Command E. I know that that's the shortcut, and boom, the sidebar pops out here for me to interact with this page. So now I can tell that the article is in the context here, and then I can start typing slash, start typing summarize, and then I see that option. I can click tab, and then click enter, and then it's going to start instantly working for me. So this is much easier to use than taking a link and pasting it into ChatGPT and then saying, summarize this article for me. The summarize skill itself has more information about how we want the information to be summarized. You could customize this content. And so that is the next thing that I want to look at, which is adding let me go to a new tab here. Adding a skill. So I can come in here and click new skill and then just give it any instruction set that I want to be able to use again and again with an article, a YouTube page, etc. So I've got a skill prompt that I'm going to copy in here. I'll read this to you. It's not letting me zoom in here. But this says, tell me how this is relevant to a local AI meetup group, Birmingham AI, or how I could bring this information back to the group and share. Be concise. So this is an example of a new skill I can create. I can give it a little tag here, bhelm-AI, and then I can save this prompt. So then that's going to now be available for me. Back over here, inside the same article where I just ran the summarize command, I can now use this new skill that I've created and just slash tag it, and then it's got that context in there. Now that's a very basic skill. You can go much deeper with this about your business, about market research that you need to perform, about the output that you want the AI to give you back based on the article. You can go really in depth with these skills and create a reusable prompt that gives you the reliable output you want every time. But it's giving me ideas about, hey, you could talk about this, the core idea of power law scaling, or you could do a hands-on demo with a small model versus a hosted model and see the comparison. So you can just see how valuable doing something like this can be when interacting with content. So we've talked about skills, we've talked about how you manage them together, and we have summarized an article. The other thing you can do in a lot of these tools is you can bring in particular parts of an article. So maybe I'm reading this article, which is a pretty long article, and there's a section down here that I don't quite understand. So I can select it in the text, and you'll notice that over here, now I have a selected text blurb that's been pulled in. So I can just say, help me understand this selected text. And that's going to just look at that content and provide some information back about that. So it can be really helpful to digest different sections of something that you're looking at or of a web page. That's how you can interact with an article. That's not all this thing can do, though. Let's take a look at the next example. So, YouTube. Now, I get sent articles and YouTube videos pretty frequently, and now I've got AI recommending me articles every single day. So I need a way to understand, like, is this worth reading? Talked with one of our coworkers who uses this a lot too, and what he said was he uses some of the summarize features to see if there's something new that he's going to learn in an article or a video. If it's something he already knows, he might not want to waste 30 minutes reading the article or watching the video. Can he find something that he's going to learn from it? So I've opened up YouTube. I'm going to hit the keyboard shortcut again to open up the chat, and I again can write summarize, and that's going to do exactly that. It's going to look at the transcript of the video, and then it's going to provide me a summary of the video and also give me hot links into the different timestamps of where the content is. So maybe I'm like, okay, I don't really want to look at this demo, but this widget looks interesting. I can click in here and then start watching the video straight from the widget. So you can interact with content this way. I can also ask questions as if I'm using a general AI, which I am. So I might say, nice, can I replace NAN with this? If you've been to some of our recent meetings, you know NAN is a workflow automation tool. This video we're watching is on OpenAI's new agent builder that Austin quickly referenced. And it gives me a quick answer here. It's like, oh, you kind of can, but this is pretty simple, and it's just the first version that's out. So this is the value in being able to talk to something like a YouTube video. Really helps you speed up this process and understand things quicker. So that's a couple examples, but what about interacting or inserting text into things? Well, let's take a look at something else. So I'm opening up my Gmail here. Always risky to do in front of 200 people. But I found out how I could open it on the snoozed link, so none of my emails showing up. So here we go. I've got a new compose field, and who here is started using Whisperflow or a tool like that where you can talk to your computers? Any tool that takes voice to text. All right, we need Austin. We got to pump these numbers up. Why are people not using these tools? It's because it's behavior change, right? We'll talk about that next time. But here, like, I can just quickly get an email drafted for me. So I'm going to use Whisperflow by hitting a hotkey to talk to my computer. Hope no systems mess up here. I'll say draft an email to my son's soccer team that we will have pizza after the game on Saturday. So I can just say that into the computer. It transcribes my voice very quickly. I can now click enter. And a lot of these tools actually are starting to have these voice modes inside them themselves, where you just click a button and talk to it. You don't have to have another tool. I've always used this tool. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, is that me or is that you? All right, we'll keep moving. Somebody yell at me if it goes away again. But this is a little bit of a different UI now because it's giving me this insert block and it's saying, okay, here's what I wrote. Now I can insert it in somewhere. So I can click this and I can click insert. I get that message inserted in. You can see it's not perfect. Like, it didn't put the subject exactly where it needed to go. I can clean that up right now, but it's not perfect, but it's close. And it can just be really valuable when you're interacting with a Word document, an Excel document, or something like Gmail. So it's now inserted that email in here, which just helps me speed up that process. Let's stay on this Gmail example, though, and I want to show you one more feature of Dia before we move on to Comet, which is that you can also have multiple tabs be used as context. Maybe you have a project plan pulled up in Notion, and you have some sales notes in another tab over here, and you have your calendar pulled up, and you're trying to get it to write an email to your customer that says, hey, this is the conversation that we had, this is when we're meeting next, all of those things. So there could be different pieces of context we're going to stick with my son's soccer game this Saturday. I want to include a little message about the weather. So I've pulled up the weather here in a separate tab. And then back here in this, I can say include a little blurb about the weather. And then if I click the @ sign, that lets me tag the different tabs that I have open. So I can just tag the weather tab, and then it will pull in that context into this chat conversation. And then now if we come and look at this, it's going to be very verbose, of course, but it's going to be 75 degrees with only a 2% chance of rain, which sounds like great soccer weather to me. So now I could insert this in. So simple example, but you can pull context from multiple tabs into a single chat conversation and have some great work done for you. All right, let's look at an example in Comet for us to finish up our demo here. A lot of what I'm showing works in both of these tools. So we don't have a dog in this fight. We want you to choose one of them and get to work with it. There's one big difference, and that is that Comet can do more agentic work for you right now than Dia. Dia has shined for me in terms of pulling in context and dealing with that context a little bit better than Comet has for me. But what Dia doesn't have right now is an agentic function where it can take actions for me on the website. It can insert things in, it can pull things back. It's coming in Dia, but it's not there yet. So I want to look at an example where we actually need something to be done. I'm going to copy this link over to Comet. And I am headed with my family to New Orleans in a couple months. We've got a 6 and a 3-year-old, and so I want Comet to find something that might be a good attraction for our family to go to. And if I use Dia right now, I would get this first page of results. I think it's like 30 results. That would be helpful. But inside Comet, I can have it even go further. So I'll read this in, and I just say, look through the first 3 pages, find the top 5 things for my family to do while we're in New Orleans in November. Our boys are 6 and 3, and then I can fire this off. And you're going to see something that looks a little bit different here any second. And it's that now this screen has gone blue, the Comet color. And it's now working through the website. It is looking at the content. It already pulled in page 1, and then it went to page 2. So now we're at number 31, and it's looking at this. Sometimes when I've tested this workflow, it might click a link to find out some more information. If it's like, oh, this is a really good one, I want to find out more information about it. And then it can back out and keep paging through the results. This is another simple example, but we've used this in our business multiple times now. We've found customer listings that we just want to page through and like, hey, this is our ideal customer. Go find the top 10 of those customers in this list of 100 companies. You can walk through that and find information out for me and then give you the answer back. Pretty simple example, but the agent mode is powerful inside of Comet. All right. Can we go back to the presentation back there? Let's see. Awesome. That's amazing, isn't it? I just love it. One word of caution when you're using agentic function, whenever you're using agents that have access to your data, monitor its actions. It should sound pretty obvious, but I don't want anybody to blindly walk into like, oh, I just had Comet browser do something and it emailed my customer all of the data of another customer. We want to avoid those situations. There's a new term out there called Comet jacking, which is where people are trying to take control of your Comet agent. Now, we haven't seen real reports of this. We've seen security companies talk about it, and it's obvious why there might be some security concerns here. But for most of the things you're doing, you just need to be paying attention to it and be smart about what data that you're giving it access to. All right, let's finish up here. New benefit minus friction equals perceived value. What are the benefits of using AI browsers? I'm going to suggest a couple. Save time. Number one is if we can speed up something we're doing in the browser, where we can find the information faster, we can get the summary information quicker. We can write the draft faster with the right context, and it can save us a lot of time. And then it can help us have better quality in the work that we are doing. These are okay benefits, but I will always ask you to like go deeper. Like if we're talking about save time, like why does that truly matter to you? It's probably not going to be enough if I just leave you here with, yeah, you'll save some time for you to actually go and change your behavior. But if you say, oh, if I save this time at my job when I'm doing this, and then that enables me to do this instead, then that is where the connection is really going to be made for you to start using these tools. Same with higher quality work. Why does that matter to you? Is it to get a promotion? Is it to help your company be successful? Is it to feel good about the work you're doing? Whatever it is, just get clear about it and think in your head about that equation when you're trying to establish a new behavior. Friction, we've talked about this. Setting up a new tool, pretty easy to download the tools. Nowadays, they make it easier for you to ingest your bookmarks from Chrome over to this new tool. But actually remembering to use it and being incentivized or caring enough to use it is harder. So we want to reduce friction. When you're thinking about this, think about the other friction that your new workflow is using. So instead of going to ChatGPT now, I can just open up a new tab and ask a question right away. That's friction that this workflow is also removing and should be factored in your head when you're considering adopting a new behavior. Here are my pro tips for getting this AI browser behavior to stick. Number one, delete your other browsers. Seriously. I actually just had to do this when I was first getting going. I kept opening up Chrome as like a muscle memory thing and then realizing, oh, like why am I not even in here? And I just completely deleted it. And guess what? I couldn't open it anymore, and I had to figure out how to make Dia work for me. Secondly, only use the keyboard shortcut to open up the assistant. If you've never used keyboard shortcuts before, now's the time to start using it. You'll save time. It will be huge. And you'll just use things more often when you learn to use the keyboard shortcut. Add personalization. This is something that we just didn't have time to talk about, but there's settings in both of these browsers. You can tell it who you are, what your job is, what you do, what you care about, and that's going to improve the conversation that you have with AI. It's going to give you more relevant answers and encourage you to use the tool more often. And then lastly, create 2 to 5 key skills or shortcuts. So in Dia, they're called skills, which are the / commands that you can use. In Comet, they're called shortcuts. Create a few of those for things you do often, for reading an email or doing some research about your business. Create a few of those and start to use them, and it will make the behavior stick a little bit more. So start using AI browsers, but as you get started, get really clear about the why and reduce friction to make it easier. Use this mental model for the next AI tool that you bring in. All right, now who wants an AI browser? All right, so William Glass, our director, gets credit for this. We have 1,000 free invites to Dia, which is still not publicly available now. So this one on the left, you get only right now if you scan this QR code. Comet is now available for everybody, but we made it easy for you to download it by including a QR code there as well. We want to hear about your success over the next month. How do you start using it? What are the skills or the shortcuts that you create? So please let us know what you use them for. Oh, do we still have a few people scanning? I think we're almost done there. All right.
There we go. Let's give it up for Will.
Thank you.
That's cool. Yeah, in preparation for this, I downloaded both of these browsers and started playing around with them, and I think I prefer Comet because I had it copy all of our Eventbrite events for the rest of the year, and I could let it do that, go ahead and save them as drafts, add tickets for at the door. So there's value in both of them for sure, and I'm definitely a novice, so thank you, Will, for that. For those that are interested, there's a question, yes?
One quick question on Dia. Let's try it down. Is it just for Mac?
Yes, Dia is just for Mac.
So the rest of us will.
So use Comet then. Use Comet then. Well, awesome. Thank you guys for being here. We couldn't do this without volunteers, so I do want to shout out 2 volunteers that we had at the greeters. Who met them? They checked you in for the first time? Yes. Tanya and Roger, can we give a big round of applause for them? Thank you. So that's one small way that you can get involved, but we've got a number of breakouts, so please make sure to fill out the volunteer interest form. We are growing every month, and we need you to help us grow. We've got new breakout groups as part of that. Marketing is launching this month. Did anybody go to the little booth that we had and play around with the AI influencer tool? Did you guys see that? A couple people did? Yes. So we're going to be doing some more activations. So during the networking, don't just come in here and sit down. Go out there and engage. We're going to have more tools for you to play with as you come to the General Meetup. Our HR People Operations Meetup is also launching in November, so please be sure to check that out. There will be links in the follow-up email for you to join. And then same thing, we've got our other breakouts, our software engineering, finance, and nonprofit. So please make sure to join those where we get to dive in deeper and you're in a group of peers. Additionally, if you want to reach that group, let me know. We do have some sponsorship slots still available. T-shirt time. Last month, we asked for some feedback, and so we have our winner for a T-shirt. Oh, okay. We did not refresh the meeting, so I will send an email out afterwards. It was, I think it was Southern INGT. I'm not going to give your full email away, but it was like Gent. It ended in GINT. Yes? Yeah, we got a hand. Okay, cool. You won the T-shirt. Congratulations. And we need your feedback. It'll take you literally 15 seconds to fill this out. It's one number. But please fill this out. We want to get better. We want to improve this experience for you all, and we need your feedback in order to do that. Additionally, we're going to give away another T-shirt, and we have a handful of Sora invites, so if you want to play around with Sora, which Austin demoed earlier, we're going to give those out as well. So there will be many, many winners between now and next month. So thank you all. We really appreciate you being a part of the community, and we can't wait to see you next month.